This video is for online coaches who are selling info product online and you are still taking inspiration from all of the gurus you see on Instagram or YouTube, but you are still stuck at 5k a month, even though you post consistently and doing everything you are supposed to do. And I know that can feel a little bit confusing because you are posting consistently, you are showing up to calls and doing everything right. What I've seen with the coaches I'm working with, it's not the lack of commitment or lack of discipline of actually showing up, neither it is the lack of posting videos, but it's just a matter of aligning what you have on your ecosystem with the message you want to spread. And what happens if that is not aligned is that we create confusion from the viewer's perspective. And you might be wondering, what does alignment really means? Because in most cases it might sound a little bit vague and many people are overusing that word. But in this video, I want to break down for you what it actually is, because chances are you are subconsciously doing it every single day without realizing it. And that's why it's so hard to break out of this cycle. So let's take one of my clients as an example, because I think it's probably the easiest way to understand this. So her ideal client was a woman who wanted to lose weight without strict diets. So on paper, everything looks fine. What was happening and what she was communicating through her content was one thing. It was fixing the relationship with food. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong about that. But subconsciously, she was working against herself. Because if we think about it, the actual problem isn't the food itself. It's what is happening beyond that problem. It might be something with the stress, with the sleeping routine, or anything like that. It was nothing to do with the food. And that's why Tina was all the time working subconsciously against herself without realizing it. And there is so many coaches out there who are doing the same thing, thinking it's something about the way they're recording videos, the way they're scripting videos, when in reality it's something deeper than that. Because we are focusing on the surface level of the problem and not the root cause of the problem. Because if we are being honest, most of those women are not sitting there and thinking they need to fix the relationship with food. What is happening is a little bit different, and what is happening in their daily basis is something like they come home from work tired, and maybe they experience a little bit stress at the work, and they need some sleep, but they can't get sleep because they need to take care of their family and of course kids. And what's happening here is that they are being stuck in a constant loop without realizing what is happening. And what's happening is that they keep sabotaging themselves all the time. And if your content is slightly off from that reality, yeah, it might be valuable, but they will never fully understand what's happening. And that's exactly what was happening with Tina, because on one side she was helping people every single day. So the delivery wasn't an issue at all. What was happening is that she couldn't really translate that problems into content. And what this created is this misalignment from the content she wanted to post and the content that actually resonates with people. So the first thing we started when working with her is to actually understand the ICA. And I don't mean on a surface level, but on a deeper level. And what I mean by that is what are they doing? What they are experiencing in the daily life. Do they have kids? You get my point. We might understand our ICA on a surface level, but that doesn't really solve our problem. What we need to understand is go deeply into these questions and actually answering them from their perspective. So what they do in their daily life. Are they busy doing this? Are they busy doing that? What are their previous experience? So what have they tried before that maybe didn't work back then? Maybe what they are trying now that don't help them at all? And do they have kids? What are their responsibilities? And when you first understand their current situation and what their struggles are, you can make a message upon their actual experiences and not second guessing every single thing. And this is where a exercise like ICA comes in. And I'm not going to go into details, but the idea is to go fully into details of your audience. So, what are their thoughts? What are their current beliefs? What are their current experiences? And I don't mean second guessing them, but actually talking to people. This might require a little bit of time, and as it did with Tina, but when you fully understand them, you can create a message that is targeting their current situation and not anything you might be seeing from other people or just copying everyone out there. And once we did that exercise, we could understand the thoughts, the beliefs, the experiences every single person in her audience are facing at this moment. What we can do with this information is that we can create kind of story out of the thoughts they have. Okay, what they might be thinking and how that translates into what kind of choices they take. So they might have a limiting belief about what they are currently doing, and if that limiting belief is something that is holding them back from achieving their goal, they will keep thinking that they are the main problem and it's nothing about them. It's just a belief that has been inside their head for a long period of time, enough to think that this is actually true. We can use the thoughts, the beliefs, and the experiences to actually make content to solve the problems. If we don't change the perspective of the viewer, we might share tips, but what is it actually helping? They might change their belief for this moment, but if we don't change the whole belief, the whole perspective of looking at things, it's actually not necessary and people won't take action. Because we realized the struggle itself wasn't what they were eating, it was the thoughts they had around eating, the thoughts they had when they came home from work, tired, stressed, and everything, the beliefs they had around eating too much, and the previous experience, of course, that created the reality of never giving enough. Because if you look at it, the problem is so much deeper than what you are eating. So what happened when we switched and aligned her content with their current reality is that they switched their way of thinking that this is a good tip to this is something I feel. And you see the difference between this approach and this approach where you share tips, you just share value and everything without actually attaching your content to something real, something they experience right now. And what is happening is that subconsciously they feel understood. And also, what is happening is that without realizing it, they trust you more. They want to listen to you more because you're making content towards their current reality. And that is how you can take advantage of doing the ICA exercise and applying it into your content. So when we talk about alignment in the ecosystem, this is what we mean. It's all about making sure that you align your content, your message, your offer, and your audience so that it makes sense from the viewer's perspective. Because if it disconnects even a little bit, it might change the way your content is perceived. And this is why most of the coaches I've been working with are struggling with the exact same problems before working with me, because they keep focusing on the exact same things, which is fixing editing, fixing the way they speak, fixing their scripts, but they can never address the core issue, which is the message itself is slightly off. And this becomes a cycle when you're all the time chasing and trying to fix surface level things when the problem is underneath. That's also why you feel like you're putting in effort without seeing results, because your efforts is directed the wrong place. So what happened is that we attracted the right people actually. We didn't need to chase people. We didn't need to post more. We didn't need to spend more time. We needed to spend more time thinking what is happening. When that happened, we started to attract the right people. And not only the right people, what I mean by that is qualified people. Because now the content that is on her social media is speaking directly to her ideal client. As you can see, is her profile picture. The bio is clear of who she want to target. We have a YouTube video explaining more about how she was able to help a client of her to get from point A to B using the exact problems we used from ICA exercise. Not only it's easier to understand what is happening on her profile, we have pin posts working with us and not against us. We have clear pin posts about the current struggles and how Tina was able to transform her clients' lives by implementing some simple steps, and not only tips, but actually what was happening with the stress in their daily life, what was happening when they came home from work stressed and had to take care of her kids. And in addition to that, we positioned Tina, which is almost in the same situation as her clients, because she needs to take care of the kids as well, as an expert and how she deals with the problems. And this is what you want, because it removes a lot of friction from the people, especially if they can relate to her situation. And at this point, we didn't really change anything to her funnel. So what I mean by that is that we still had her profile. We of course changed the way we message everything, the pin post we had, but we still used ad as a mechanism to get people into her profile. And we used her profile as qualification and of course DMs. And we didn't change this at all. This is something Tina was doing before. What we changed is the actual content inside, because your funnel is just a vehicle. If you don't have fuel, which is the message and how you communicate with people, you will not be able to drive forward. And the only place you will be, you can have the perfect ad, you can have the perfect profile, you can have the perfect DM qualification, but if you don't have the most important thing, which is your fuel, you will be in the exact same place. And at the outside, you might be thinking everything is going well, I have the perfect funnel, but sorry to tell, you don't have the fuel to run that funnel. And that is what is happening with so many coaches. They think everything is going in the right direction because they are doing what every guru is saying, when they haven't stopped and thought about the most important thing, which is actually understand your audience problem. And if you look at this way of thinking, you don't really need to do more, because posting more will just amplify the way you are running your business right now. If you stop and think, okay, what are the current problems? Maybe you can align your profile with your ad and also your DM qualification. Because once you understand that, it becomes so much easier to adjust your content in a way that it actually connects with people. And that is when you start to notice a difference, not only in engagement, but the type of people you attract. And again, this is not something I blame people for, neither my coaches I've been working with, because it's so easy to overlook. And it happens subconsciously, especially if you are taking inspiration from all of the gurus you are seeing on the internet, as I said at the very beginning of this video. And everything comes down to that you don't have enough clarity on your own audience. So the first step here is really just awareness. And as I say to my clients, being aware of your problem is a big step itself. And being open about it, trying to understand that this might be happening to your business at this moment, and being willing to look at it honestly. And once you are aware of it, it becomes a thing you can actually fix. And if you want help with that, DM me on Instagram. I will link it down below, and we can go through the ICA exercise like we did with Tina to see if that is something that might help you at this moment. And if you want more content like this, subscribe to this channel where I break more of this type of content. See ya.